Hello and welcome back to These Blind Eyes 6580. I have been looking forward to doing this video for a long time, but first I need to tell you, if you haven't checked out my podcast Little MB yet, check it out, episode 96. It's Leader Dogs for the Blind. So if you're blind, it'll be a real good episode to listen to. And if you can see and like helping an organization that actually helps the people they claim to, and they're not just lining their pockets with the donations, check it out. I can't believe how blessed I was to have them come on to my podcast. Mrs. Leslie Hoskins came on, and it was just such an informative and great conversation. So check that out. As far as today, I'm going to be, for this video, I'm just doing roasting carrots. I will also be doing mashed potatoes for dinner as well, but that's going to be a separate video just due to the fact that you can have mashed potatoes with a lot of different things. So I don't want to just include it with this, because you'll need to know I don't cook my potatoes with the roasting carrots like a lot of people do. So it'll be a good video for you to have to learn how to do it without doing it this way. Now this is a slow cooker that I am using for the roast and carrots. They typically will have 3 settings. Warm, which just what it says, it just keeps the food warm. So if it gets done cooking and you need to keep it warm for a little while till dinner, that's what you have it on. Then they have low and high. I cook on low. It takes a long time, but it is great because you can get it ready like what I'm doing now. It's 5 in the morning. We're going to have an early dinner today. So 8 hours and it's going to be done. So between 1 and 1:30, this is going to be done. And a lot of people, what you typically do if you're going to do potatoes with this is you line the bottom with the carrots, you put the roast on top of it, and you wedge the potatoes around it. You peel the potatoes, chunk them, and put them around. Carrots, you need to peel them. They are a root vegetable, so you need to cut off both ends. You don't have to cut off a ton of it, but you have to cut off both ends, and then you use a vegetable peeler. If you're blind and never seen one, it is a handle, and the blade on it is canoe shaped. And the inside, the middle of this canoe shape, is an elongated hole, almost like a rectangular shaped hole, and the edges of that hole are sharp, and that's what running it up and down the vegetable is what's going to peel the vegetable. You will need to peel your carrots. You also include water into this. Now you don't want the meat sitting in the water. You're not wanting to boil the meat. You're wanting for it to basically steam. So for that, you also need a lid for your slow cooker, because if you don't have it, the water's just going to evaporate and cook out. And so that's why you put the carrots on the bottom, and then you put the roast on top of it. Let me see. I need to make sure I've got, because there's something I'm needing, and of course, there we go. That's what it is. Now this is so simple, and it tastes so amazing. I'd lie to people and tell them you just can't get into the recipe, because it's that easy. Now I'm going to use 3 cups of water, and that's what I'm going to start with after I put my carrots in. And the reason being is my dad and mom and sister, they like brown gravy. I do not. And typically you make the gravy out of the trimmings. I don't know how to make the gravy, so I'll talk to my mom if she's willing to come on and tell how to do it. I'll make a video for that. But what I like to do after it's cooked, I will put the carrots and the roast into a 9 by 13 casserole dish. And then I like to take some of the juice and pour it over the top of the roast. It'll help keep it from drying out when you go to eat it, much less if you have to put it in the refrigerator for leftovers. So and if you have to do that, obviously you're going to want to cover it with some saran wrap to help keep the moisture in, keep it from drying out. We all love carrots. That's another reason why I'm doing the potatoes separate, because it will leave plenty of room for more carrots instead of fewer carrots, and then doing the potatoes. You can wedge the carrots on the side instead of the potatoes. So I have a specific way of doing this. My carrots are pre-cut, and I haven't chopped them, so I mean it's not like they're little pieces of carrots. These are full-size carrots I'm putting in here. But I have a very OCD way of preparing the slow cooker. And what I do is I put the carrots in, line the bottom with it. Now I'm putting the water in. I got 3 cups of water, like I said. Now, if you don't want to make gravy, all you need is 2 cups of water. Or if you just want gravy and you'll use the gravy on the rest of the stuff, same thing applies. 2 cups will be more than enough to cook everything and do it. Because the thing is, when you cook like this, the roast is going to go on top of the carrots, and as it cooks, it's going to melt the fat, and you're going to get all the juices from the beef roast and the fat and all that stuff going down into the carrots and into the water that's in the bottom. And it's just an amazing tasting juice. So, you know, it's awesome to pour it over the top of the roast when it's all done. So what I've got in here so far is my peeled carrots with the ends chopped off. Then I've put the 3 cups of water in, and there's no water over the top. So when I put my roast in, I ain't got to worry about that. A lot of people that do it this way will only use 1 packet of Lipton's onion soup mix. I use 2, and I use it for a specific reason. Now my mom, she'll dump it in, then dump the water in, and then start putting the carrots and everything else in. I don't like to do it that way because you can get little piles of it and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, as it cooks, it spreads around. But I want it to stay where I put it. So I put in the carrots. Now I've added the water. And I am dumping the packet of onion soup mix into my hand and then sprinkling it all around the carrots and just all over the slow cooker. So that's 1 packet that I've used. Like I said, my mom, she just does it different ways. She never does anything the same way twice. It was hard to learn how to cook using her as a reference. But anyways, I use 2 because I like to put 1 in the bottom over the carrots. Sometimes she'll do that. Other times she won't, because if you don't put it over the top, now this roast is probably 2.5 to 3 pounds. The carrots, it was either a 3-pound or a 5-pound bag. Use what you want. You know, if the recipe's the same no matter how big of a bag of carrots you're using. The roast is 2.5, 3 pounds. So, like I said, I got the carrots in the bottom, put water in there, then I sprinkled the package of the onion soup mix over the carrots. So it's going to be cooking in the water. It's really going to get that flavor of the onion soup mix into the carrots while they cook. Now, if my mom doesn't just dump it in the bottom, she'll do like what I'm doing here. But then she will put the onion soup mix over the top of the roast and all that. that works out fine. Hold on, I'm gonna rinse my hand off. I was just handling raw meat, so I'm washing my hands. If it's sitting on top of the roast, it's not getting down into the water, and the flavor's not cooking into the carrots as well as it would be otherwise. Now, since I do have a few carrots left, what I'm doing now that I have put the roast in is I'm going to take the rest of the carrots and put them along the side of the roast. Then I'm going to take the other package, the second package of onion soup mix, and I am going to put it over the top of the roast and the carrots that I'm putting on the side. So it really helps get the flavor into the carrots, it helps get it into the roast and everything if you use 2 packets. 1 box of onion soup mix has 2 packets of onion soup mix in it. So this is real easy to prepare. It's time consuming when you have to sit and peel the carrots and stuff like that. But like I said, since it's something we were wanting to do for today, peeled the carrots last night, put them in a Ziploc, chopped and peeled them, put them in a Ziploc bag. And so that's why it's so easy to be getting everything ready now. So now I'm putting the second package of onion soup mix over the roast. And I'm going to be putting it over the carrots along the edges as well. And I mean, it's that simple. Like I said, if you want to do your potatoes with it, peel them and chunk them up and shove them alongside of the roast. I just personally don't care for that when it comes to the potatoes. You can still use them for mashed potatoes, but I just personally don't like that. I'm OCD, and when I get a plate of food, I get one thing on my plate at a time. That's just the way I am. If I wanted it mixed together, I'd put it in a blender. But either way. So, once again, I've got the carrots, since I want to pour juice over the roast when it's done and in the casserole dish, and my mom's going to want to make some gravy out of the juices as well. I use 3 cups of water. If you use that much water, you need to make sure you have enough carrots to keep the roast out of the water. All right? And so, carrots, the 3 cups of water, 1 packet of the Lipton onion soup mix, spread over that. Then I put the 2.5 pound roast. It might be 3. It's a big roast. I put that in on top of the carrots, wedged the rest of the carrots along the sides. Then I took the second pack of Lipton onion soup mix, sprinkled it over the top of that, and now I'm putting the lid on top of all that. I'm double checking, making sure I have that set on low, which I do. And now I am going to turn it on. Now, if you are single, just cooking for yourself, I'm going to tell you something. The 3 to 5 pounds of carrots in the 3 pound roast is not too much food if you like carrots and roast. And I love it, especially prepared this way. And when I was working, what's the big gripe everybody has when they work? Well, I don't have time to cook and do this and do that. Well, guess what? You do have time. I would get this ready on Sunday night and turn it on. And then when I'd wake up, it'd be done. And I'd have lunch to take with me. I'd have dinner. I mean, this much roasting carrots was enough for probably 3 meals, if not 4, depending on how hungry and how gluttonous I was wanting to be. So it's a good way to prepare quite a few meals for yourself. So it's not too much necessarily. Now, if you have never had roasting carrots or had it cooked this way with the onion soup mix as your seasoning, no, I wouldn't suggest starting out with 5 pounds of carrots or 3, whatever, in a 3 pound roast. Just in case you don't like it. you know, if you're cooking for yourself. You know, start with something smaller. But I still do it the same way. I still use the 2 packets. You know, when I did a small roast and a small number of carrots, I still use 2 packets. Maybe it was overkill, but it did not taste like it to me. So it'll be 8 hours before I come back and get this out and put it into the casserole dish. So, like I said, I'm going to do a video on the mashed potatoes because I'm going to peel them and boil them on the stove, because mashed potatoes will go with a lot of things as a side, and if you aren't wanting to use a slow cooker, you're going to need to know how to make the mashed potatoes separate anyway. So I'm going to do that as a separate video, but I will be doing that today as well. Not sure when these things will get posted, but you know, once I post one of them, which I'll probably post the roasting, well, I'll probably post the mashed potatoes first, just because, like I said, you can use that for a side for anything. But after that, it'll only be maybe 2 days before I do the roasting carrots and post that video. So I'll be back when it's time to take this stuff out of the slow cooker and put it into the casserole dish and get ready to serve it up. All right, and I'm back for the roast and the carrots. Just in case you're wondering, the mashed potatoes turned out great. Now, the issue with trying to get a roast out of a slow cooker is it's wanting to fall apart because it gets extremely tender. I use a really big spatula to get under one end of it, and then I use meat forks to get the other end of it. And that's what I try to do. Move it over, put it in the casserole dish. I believe I got the whole thing without it completely falling apart on me. Time to get the carrots out, and there's a ton of carrots, folks. Ton of carrots. And when it comes to the carrots, sometimes I'll use everything to get the carrots out, because when they're real tender, sometimes they'll break apart. So right now I'm using tongs to try to get them all out. And I'm just loading them in the same casserole dish, if you can't see. Once again, it's a 13x9 casserole dish. And I'm just loading everything into it. It'll be easier to serve that way than trying to serve it out of the slow cooker, for one. And then you can store it that way when you put it in the fridge. So, and then when I'm done with that, I've said before, I don't know if I said it on the first part of this video, but I've said it in the mashed potato video, I'm not messing with the gravy. I've never made dark gravy before. If you want any kind of gravy for this, for your potatoes or your roast and stuff, I'm sure somewhere you can figure out how to make it. If not, and if you're just learning, get a packet. Get a packet from the store and learn how to do it. It's not the end of the world. This is to learn how to cook when you don't know anything. And let me tell you something, this is easy. You saw what I did for this. I put in some peeled carrots. I put in some water, some onion soup mix, put a roast on top of it, and put another packet of onion soup mix over the top. And for those who can see, they're probably sitting there right now saying, holy shit, he did put a ton of carrots in there. Like I said, we like carrots. Plus, they just taste so delicious cooking in that onion soup mix water like that, with the beef just dripping on it. And when I'm done, I've got a measuring cup, because I put extra water in this because my mom wants to make gravy for her and my dad and sister for the mashed potatoes. So I like adding this juice over the top of the roast when I take it out to keep it from drying out. So that's why I added extra water. All right, so I'm not feeling any more carrots up in there. So I am putting that stuff into the sink. And I got my measuring cup. And first thing I'm going to do, since I didn't do it before, is turn that down to warm. If I can find the, found the power strip. I'm turning it off. If my mom wants the heat back on. And now I'm using my hand to feel around to see where the roast is at. And it's hot, so know that you can burn yourself. I didn't burn myself, but it is hot. Trying to make sure all the carrots are off of this, because when I scoop the water, I'm gonna try to pour it over the top of this roast. And no, I did not follow it with my hand, in case you can't see what I was doing. I got an idea of where it was with my hand, and then I went in with the measuring cup and poured it on. So that is it, and ladies and gentlemen, it is ready to serve. And I'm going to tell you something, it smells amazing. The potatoes already taste amazing. Guarantee you this will too. So hope you enjoy. Don't forget to check out the mashed potatoes video. And any questions or comments, hit me up at littlemb6580@gmail.com. Until next time, y'all take care.